Hello, this is Peter Stewart, and together with Suze Cooper, we are VoiceWorks. Thank you so much indeed for joining us today for another edition of our almost nightly programme of everything to do with voice. As I say, my name is Peter Stewart. I've got a background in broadcasting, mainly for the BBC, but also for commercial radio and TV across the UK. And my partner in crime, my co-host, is Suze Cooper. Evening, Suze.
Good evening. Hi. Welcome back to another episode of VoiceWorks. Yes, I am a commercial radio station broadcaster. I read the news on a local station here in Kent. I also do other stuff with audio production and all kinds of different things. But yeah, it's really brilliant to be at the end of our first week of VoiceWorks. We've covered quite a lot of stuff this week. But it's been an exciting time, hasn't it, Peter?
Absolutely. And today and every Friday that we broadcast, going to be doing something a little bit different. So usually we're going to keep you updated with all sorts of news that happens during the last 24, 48 hours or so. But today we're doing something slightly different. So on a Friday, we're going to be talking about flash briefings. So we're going to be calling it Flash Briefing Friday, which seems to be a pretty good name that stood me instead over the last several months on some other platforms. So, understandably, it's all about flash briefings. So specifically, those short kind of audio bursts that you can pick up on Alexa-controlled devices. So today, we're going to be talking about, well, what better way to start than explain what a flash briefing is. In the future, we're going to be talking more about how you can create your own flash briefing, why they're so important, how you can get more juice from the fruit. In other words, how you can make more about your flash briefing, where your ideas come from, all about recording studios and about how to use your voice as well, production techniques, uploading and different formats and files and all sorts of things to do with flash briefing. But back over to Suze now to explain, and I'll probably chip in as well because I like doing that. What the heck is a flash briefing?
Well, you can hear that we're pretty excited about flash briefings. Both me and Peter actually have got a few flash briefings that we create. So a flash briefing is essentially an audio file, a short audio file that is scheduled to update daily and is played out by your Alexa device, so your Echo or your Dot or anything else that's got Alexa inside it. So it's basically this kind of very short podcast format. I like to think of it as sort of the radio bulletin format. And yeah, I think we're both agreed, Peter, that a short, sweet bulletin in this sense really works best, doesn't it? A couple of minutes, really, at the most.
Absolutely. But let's go back to something that you said a few moments ago, daily. Of course, it doesn't have to be daily. It could be hourly, daily, or even weekly. So you can have something which is updated very, very often. In fact, I was researching what Amazon say, and they say you can update as often as every 15 minutes during the day. And it kind of got me wondering, what kind of system would you want if you were updating every single 15 minutes? And you know what? If you were in a kind of situation, say, just say, just for argument's sake, that, I don't know, there was some kind of election going on, for example, and you had various counts coming in, and you got an ever-changing scene, ever-changing situation. People wanted to know what the very latest was. But actually, it's probably easier to update the situation on a voice device as part of a flash briefing than perhaps it is to update something on another format. Maybe you could update a website page. It may take you slightly longer, but you can send out social media. But you know what? You could actually do it via a flash briefing. So you could update every 15 minutes for an ever-changing situation. Most people, I would have thought, probably do it daily. I wouldn't have thought, Suze, would you, that there's much of a point doing something weekly? That kind of misses the point, I would have thought, of a flash briefing.
Yeah, I hadn't even considered that it might be done weekly, to be honest, Peter. I think the beauty of this is that that kind of routine, that kind of daily input, that daily audience, having that interaction with people. I think perhaps a weekly, I'm trying to think of a good plan for that. I mean, I guess if you wanted to Yeah, I just don't know. I think certainly what we've been hearing from Amazon is that if things aren't updated kind of daily or uploaded, with new information each day, then people are kind of disabling this. It's really easy to enable a flash briefing. You can do it using voice if you know the exact name of the flash briefing you're after. Equally, it's just as easy to disable it using voice. So people, are turning off and walking away, not listening to these things if they're not updated frequently. And I think people kind of are expecting them to be daily, aren't they?
Absolutely. So I think daily, and it's a short piece of audio content. It can go up to about 10 minutes in duration, but sometimes, well, I guess usually they're a couple of minutes long. I think ideally perhaps about a minute. Anything more than 3 minutes, I think you're really pushing your luck if you want somebody to be holding their attention, to be listening to your words of wisdom. So are they words of wisdom? What kind of content are we talking about? Well, I'm guessing kind of daily ideas, daily tips. You could have news about products. You could have updates to something that you're talking about. They're ideal for something like, daily listings and things like that, or maybe clips of interviews, maybe as a way to tempt people to listen to a longer podcast or to go elsewhere, maybe as a tip-off for something that you've got on a website, maybe an update for a sale or a flash event that you can tease and tempt and trail towards people, and that kind of thing. But Suze, I know you've got several flash briefings. Give us an idea of how you're using this particular concept.
Well, I like to think of it as an audible email marketing list in a way, because people are enabling your flash briefing. So they're already aware of your brand. They're already aware of you and what you're offering, to the point that they've signed up to listen to it. And in my case, one of the ones I do is called Social Days. And it is basically an audible calendar of the awareness days that you might find on social media. So things like rhubarb and custard day and oatmeal cookie day. And I read those out each day on the date that it is, and I then might give you a bit of a deep dive into one of them, perhaps if there's a funny story behind why it's that particular day. And people that are enabling that skill are finding it through social media, so they've got that interest already, and they're aware that that is the content of the briefing, so that they've already aware of what we're doing, but I'm able to then reach them each day with that bit of information. It's kind of a bit of a promotion, I guess, for Big Tent Media, which is the social media marketing company that I run, and it kind of keeps my brand hopefully front of mind if people are hearing from me every single day, and I just love that this is the kind of audible permission marketing, if you like. As I say, someone has clicked the button already and they're aware of who I am, what I'm about, and what they're going to get delivered each day. And harking back to what we were saying about not updating each day, I think that's really the point. I put it out there that this is every day. So, today's days that you hear if you listen to the Social Days flash briefing are about today. They're not yesterday's ones or the day before. So, yeah.
And it is particularly useful and important, really invaluable, to have something every day, because if you're getting into a bit of a routine, and we'll come to routines, perhaps Suze, you can explain what routines are in a few moments' time, but with a capital R. But if you're expecting somebody to get into a routine with a small r, and to listen to your content every day, to get into that pattern, to get into that kind of workflow, to hear your kind of content every single day, then, it needs to be there every day. Apart from anything else, you'll be letting them down if you suddenly don't appear, but also you're letting yourself down. What does it say about your brand if you're there week 1, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, week 2, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, week 3, Tuesday and Friday, week 4, people are going to be fed up. What does it say about your brand if you're not actually there consistently? Essentially, it says, I can't be bothered. You as a listener, as a potential purchaser of my product, someone I'm supposed to be engaging with, you're not important to me. I've got more important things to do. So the important thing as a broadcaster, as a flash briefing content producer, is to get a flash briefing in as part of someone's routine with a capital R as well. What's a routine with a capital R?
So basically, this is available once you bought your Amazon Alexa device. You can set up routines via the Alexa app. So this is under one of the main menus, and you can click on the routines tab, and you can basically set your device to play out exactly what you want it to play out when you give the invocation of good morning Alexa, what's my morning routine, or and equally you can set an evening one as well. So lots of people are setting up their morning routine to perhaps be something like an alarm, the BBC headlines, and their favorite flash briefings. And flash briefings are really kind of tied into this routine feature that is available. And so that's kind of quite habit forming, and it means that people are generally listening at kind of similar time each day. They've got that kind of all set up for themselves, knowing exactly what it is that they're going to hear, who they're going to hear from each day. And it's a great little feature, and it is all about building trust. So if you can get into someone's daily routine and you're there updating your flash briefing every single day, then it's building that relationship, and it is building up that trust. As Peter said, it is all about building your brand, the trust with your brand and who you are. So it's really key to kind of establishing who you are and what you're about.
Okay, we'll wrap things up in a few moments' time. Thanks for watching. If you're watching our live stream of this recording, thanks very much indeed. Tim, thank you for being there as well and giving us a thumbs up. Really appreciate it. We're here most days during the course of the week to give you updates on the Voice platform. Nothing too techy, incidentally. We're talking about stuff. If you're a beginner to Voice, this is your kind of entry portal. This is your gateway to some really exciting and interesting stuff. The way that the whole Voice technology is going. Now, there are two kinds of flash briefings. So far, we've spoken about the flash briefings where essentially you record a short podcast with yourself, with your own voice, with your own larynx, and you record that content and you put it up onto a podcast host. And then when someone invokes that phrase, and Suze has alluded to this already, and perhaps you can talk a bit more about this in a few moments' time, about how you actually invoke or how you actually ask for a flash briefing to be played, then Alexa scurries off to that podcast host and plays it directly from there. However, there is another way that you can do a flash briefing, which is absolutely fantastic because it saves you loads of time. It saves you a whole load of bother. Not necessarily a good thing, because what happens is you set up your flash briefing, you set up Alexa to read your flash briefing. How does she get the content? She gets the content from your website. So essentially, she reads out what is on your website. So it saves you time, but is that a particularly good experience for your listener, for your fan, for your friend, for the person you're trying to seduce into maybe buying something from you or to follow you and to support you? I would suggest it's not, because first of all, you've got Lexi introducing your flash briefing, which is then read by Lexi, and then at the end of that, then she's introducing someone else. You don't have much of a brand differentiation, because your flash briefing will sound like someone else's flash briefing, which is also read by Alexa. That's number one. Number two, she will read just what is on your website page, and that will include things like comments that other people have left. She will read captions underneath pictures, which of course won't make any sense to people because they won't be able to see what the pictures are. If there's a link to another part of your web page or your website, she will read that out, which again won't make much sense to people if they can't actually see the layout of the web page. And if you're allowed only a certain number of characters in that link, the problem is that Lexi will only get so far through the sentence, and then she will just stop, however many characters that she is up to at that stage. And of course, even though her intonation is pretty good, it's not as good as the intonation of a real live human being. Suze.
That's right. I mean, our voice gives so much, it gives emotion, it gives detail, it gives the intent of what we're trying to get across. Lots of people often say, my text message was misconstrued, that kind of thing, where what you read and what was typed, the manner in which it was typed, don't kind of come together in that final delivery. And I think there's kind of a risk really of a similar thing happening with Alexa. Yes, it does save time. It can be set up for an RSS feed, so you know that the kind of very way back when way of kind of text-based news delivery, and so you know it can be updated quite simply. But as you say, Peter, I think there isn't that personal touch, and everything that we give with our voices and that we get from other people's voices is removed in using the Alexa voice. However, it is a good way of starting out if it's something that you want to get started with and aren't quite sure how to kind of go about it. Perhaps start that way and then move on to recording for yourself. As you've said, we're going to be speaking a little bit more in future Flash Briefing Friday episodes about how you can record. I think actually it's a lot more simple than most people would think. You don't really need a full setup in a studio. You know, there's lots of ways that you can record the audio that you can use for your Flash Briefing quite simply and cheaply as well. So yeah, it's definitely a kind of growing area, the Flash Briefing. I absolutely love doing mine. It is definitely a commitment as well. You need to make sure that you do have the content that you need to keep it going, and sort of be very organized with scheduling it all and everything. But it's a bit addictive, to be honest. I did the first one and very, very quickly started a second one, and I daren't start another one. I don't know about you, Peter. Have you found it that way?
Absolutely. And we're going to be talking more about how you find your content, how you produce it, how you upload it, how you schedule it, all sorts of things to do with Flash Briefings on our shows on a Friday going on into the future. If you want to know more about Flash Briefings, then Suze and I are going to be talking at an event in July. We've got details about that in a few moments' time. Also, if you're in the London area in the UK, we're also meeting up on Monday with a couple of people, in fact, 3 people from the US who are really high up in the voice world. They're up there somewhere. They're actually huge. So that's going to be really interesting to meet up with them too. Details on that event are on Eventbrite. So Suze's got details of both those events in a few moments' time. First of all, I'm doing a bit of extra kind of research just before tonight's show, just to check nothing had changed in the world of Flash Briefings. Suze, I sent this to you. I don't know whether you saw this. This is from a PR agency writing about Flash Briefings and how people should, why they need to get involved with Flash Briefings. And it says, quote, a Flash Briefing is a type of Alexa skill. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, okay. It's a broadcast, not really a broadcast. A podcast isn't a broadcast. A Flash Briefing isn't a broadcast because it's kind of recorded and it's there on demand. So I'm not sure you would call Netflix a broadcast in the same way. But okay, I kind of give you that. Okay, but it doesn't have to be the news. No, it certainly doesn't have to be the news. It can be your news. Yeah, that's quite a nice line. We like that. Anything that has to do with your business can be broadcast to 4 people at a time. What? To 4 people at a time? No. Whoever wrote that is making money by giving false information. No, the whole point of a Flash Briefing is that it's on demand and it can go to as many people as demanded at any single time. And certainly if you're recording it from an English-speaking country, then it can be produced in English and it can be set up to be played in any of the 5 English-speaking territories, which are, Suze? No. Okay, you may be... They are obviously the UK because it's like our language, and then all these other countries kind of
Canada, Australia.
We've got America and Canada and Australia and also India as well. So anything that you produce in English is then available in those other 5 English-speaking territories, is what Amazon calls them. If you think to yourself, actually, I'd quite like it to be available in France or Japan, then you've got to make sure that everything, all the back end, all the words that you write, everything that Alexa says to introduce your Flash Briefing, and everything that's in the Flash Briefing that you produce the content for has got to be either in French or Japanese or German or Spanish or Italian or whatever it happens to be. No way around that, which is a bit unfortunate because, of course, English is pretty much the world's language. So hopefully, my hope and desire is that people will be able to hear an English Flash Briefing, if they want to, in any country of the world, because it'd be fantastic to be able to, if you're in France or Germany or Holland or somewhere like that, and you understand English and you want to listen to something in English, frankly, I think you should be able to. Anyway, that's about it from me. We've got a couple of dates for your diary.
Yep. So Monday, there is going to be this meetup with Scott and Susan coming over from the US. That's happening at the Horniman Pub at Hayes Galleria, just off Tooley Street in London on Monday evening. I'll post the Eventbrite link in the kind of comments after the broadcast. There's also the Amazon UK meetup that me and Peter will be speaking at. This is an introduction to voice technology. So if you have been interested this evening listening about flash briefings, then that's exactly the sort of stuff that we're going to be talking about. We're not going to be talking techie stuff. It's not about coding. It's not about all those kind of things. It is about content. It is about how you can get these things off the ground for yourself and your business and your brand. So perhaps come along and sign up. It's free. We do need you to sign up via Eventbrite so we know how many people we're expecting. And again, I will put the link in the comments after the show.
Okay, thanks so much indeed for watching, and have a fantastic weekend if you're in the UK. An extra long bank holiday weekend, which is good news. And we're back for a couple of 3 days next week, round about 8 o'clock UK summertime, to bring you more updates from the world of voice. Suze, have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon.
Yep, I'll see you then.